It hasn't been a long time since I started this channel, and I haven't talked about all the books that I have read in my life on this channel ever. Which definitely means that there are a lot of good books that I have read, but I have never talked about them on this channel. And that's kind of bad. But there's a fix. To fix that situation, I'm making this video about some books that I rarely mention on this channel, but I have really loved and I would definitely recommend to you guys. Hi guys, I'm Manpreet and I make book related videos on this channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe right now. Make sure you follow me on my social media and make sure your notifications are on so that you get notified whenever I post a new video, which currently in November 2017 is every day. So number one book is actually a book series, that is a children book series, and that is Famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. I have 3 copies. I have read almost 10 books in this series and it's an absolutely amazing series that I feel like is a must read for every kid of 8 to 12 years, I guess, in India at least. And oh my god, these are so good. The series is about this bunch of kids who go on different adventures. There's one adventure in every single book, and there's a cute dog, and there are food descriptions, and there's gingerbread, which I always mention whenever I talk about the series. Have I ever told you how I came across the series? So it was when I was in 9th standard. So I read these pretty late, okay? So I think at that age also you will enjoy this. So I was in 9th standard, and during the summer holidays, I read Pride and Prejudice, The Tempest, and one more book by Shakespeare. And I go to my English teacher and I'm like, ma'am, I read those books during the summer, but you know, I don't really feel like reading more of those books. And I do know that you say that reading is really good, but I don't know what to do. She goes back to her home. Next day, she brings one Famous 5 series book. That's why I don't have all the 10 copies, because most of them were borrowed from friends or teachers. And she brings me that book and she was like, read this. I read one book and I'm a fan. I'm reading so many books, and I had like so many kids in school that read these books with me and they absolutely loved them. We read so many Enid Blyton books because of that, and it's a totally recommended book series. If you haven't read it ever, start reading it. Second book is actually a book by an Indian author. It's a non-fiction slash fiction. I'll tell you why it's that. But that book is How I Bathed Anu Auntie and co-founded $1 million company by Varun Agarwal. Now, I did have the copy of this book, but gave it to a friend, never got it back. But the book is really nice. This is about this guy who, after engineering, you know, wasn't appreciated much by people. He didn't get a good job and all that. But he ended up starting this company, and it's his journey. And I think this book is a very enlightening book for all the people who want to be an entrepreneur. And if you want to, you know, just read a story about a guy who was totally clueless and then ended up being something so good, creating something so good. So it's a good book and it's really funny. It has this character of Anu auntie, who is like this typical Indian auntie who is always poking her nose into our households and all that, and it's so funny, so nice, so enjoyable, and also very knowledgeable. So do check out this book as well. Next book is The Choice by Nicholas Sparks. Now, I know I talk about this book a lot, but I still feel like it is not enough, because this is a romance novel which like blew my mind. It's so good. Like, I cried so much and I felt like it was so beautiful, so nice. It was like it gave me the goals and dreams of the life I want to live, but obviously I'll not live that kind of life. I don't know why, but still, you know, the scenery and everything is so good. And yes, there's a movie, but I would totally recommend. Like, this is that typical book where the movie just ruined everything. The movie just didn't have that vibe and that amazing feeling that is there in the book. So you should definitely pick up this book. This is about this guy and girl who have this amazing life, and then tragedy hits them, and it's quite heartbreaking. Like, in the beginning, like, first part of this book is so good, and the second part is very heartbreaking, but it's still really good. Like, it's an amazing read. You should definitely check it out. Fourth book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Now, considering that this is a recent read, I feel like I still have talked enough, but not enough. on this channel. It's an amazing book. Like, a lot of people talk about it and a lot of people do not like it at all. And obviously it's a very popular book and a lot of people like, seriously, you think you do not talk enough about To Kill a Mockingbird? Yes, I do not talk about it enough because I don't think I have fully expressed how much of an impact this book had on me. This book is so good. It deals with the subject of racism. This book totally opened up my mind and it totally, showed me the pain, and also it had that country vibe which I really love. Like I told you, my favorite show currently is Heartland because of that country vibe, and it also has that kind of vibe, and I absolutely love that kind of setup. And I found everything about this book so beautiful. The games those kids play, the things those kids do, and how everything happens in this book. It's an amazing read. It happens with some people that they start it and do not like it and they leave it, but if you have ever started it and not liked it, you should give it a try once again because it's an amazing book. Guys, just read it. Now the next book, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to pick up this book ever because I am not sure whether the copies of this book are still in circulation, and I'm also not sure if the ebook version is available. If it would be, I'll link it down below. But this book was actually, I know the author, so I know it was like a test project which author wanted to do and see whether he could sell a fiction, because he's a very good non-fiction writer. He talks about ambient stuff, but this was so good. This is about a set of management consultants, and these people are hired by this mafia whose business is going down. He's into drugs, gambling, and porn, and these people are hired, and it's such a fun and nice book. You really enjoy it. I've done a full review of this book on my blog, so I'll link that one also below. But I absolutely love this book, and I feel like I haven't talked about this book a lot since then, but it's a really good and funny book by an Indian author. Another book that I really want to mention in this video is The Comfort of Black by Carter Wilson. So this is like a very gloomy thriller which I borrowed from NetGalley, and I read it quite a long time ago. Never talked about it anywhere. I think I have done the review on my blog, so I'll link it down below. I do not really remember the full plot, and why should I give it to you when it's a thriller where you actually have to find out what happens in it. So go and read this book. मेरा कप टूट गया. Yes guys, so these are the books that I really wanted to talk about, and yes, these are actually not those books. These are just the ones I picked up so that I can just have a good thumbnail. But thank you so much for watching this video, and while making this video I broke this mug, which was like a gift, and I shouldn't have broken it. I shouldn't have placed it here right. Like, I was just trying to be like a fancy booktuber, and that is just not my style. Anyway, sad, but hopefully you will like this video. I sacrificed this gift and this mug, which was like, anyway, I hope you like this video and you hit a thumbs up and comment below. I am so sad. This will be signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.